always we have the pleasure to listen to the founders, to the business leaders, to the top executives. And we don't have so many opportunities to listen to the story of the people who is doing the work on a daily basis on the companies. So the next conversation, it's amazing, because we will have Onya Harris from People Against Dirty and Justin Sharon from Rhino Food, who are workers from these two companies. They are internal champions, and we will have the opportunity to listen to them how a B Corp has improved their life, and how they, like workers of these two companies, have improved their B Corps, how they have got together with the rest of the workers and give much more value to the company. The great and my dear friend, Meliani Javia, will interview them. Meliani, she leads the Australian B Corp Small Giants, which is an impact investment organization based in Melbourne. She also is the chair of B-Lab Australia. We met back in 2013 with Meliani and in San Francisco area, I don't remember the name, and we were just starting with Sistema B and B-Lab Australia, and you can't imagine how both movements have grown in those continents. But the most amazing thing is the title that Meliani has in Small Giants. She's the director of Yin at Small Giants, and of course, my friend Danny, that you have to know, is the director of Yan. That means that together, the director of Yin and Yan endeavor towards a whole and balanced leadership. So please, let's give a huge applause to Meliani, Onya, and Justin for this great conversation. Hello.
Hello. Hi. Welcome to this session, Working for a B Corp, Why It Matters to Me. And before we start, I'd love to get a show of hands from the audience for everybody that works for a B Corp. Awesome. So the two B Corps that we are lucky to have represented today by Onya and Justin are People Against Dirty, and Rhino Foods. And we're going to talk a lot about what it is that these B Corps do. But before we get started, I wanted to say that what I really love about B Corps and working for a B Corp myself is that what matters in B Corps is both what it is that you're making and what it is that you're doing, but it's also how you do it. And how you do it is really about the people that make up the company. And both Justin and Onya have been deeply impacted by working for B Corps, and in turn have taken on important leadership roles within the company and have come to be B Corp ambassadors in both their companies themselves. So we're really thrilled to have you here and to hear your story, and we've got lots of things to talk about and quite a short time, so I'm going to jump straight in. Justin, I want to start with you. You're a production line operator for Rhino Foods. I want to start by, before we jump into talking about Rhino Foods and your working life, I want to talk about you. So where are you from?
So I grew up in a rural town called Jericho, Vermont. It's a very small town, but it really has a unbeatable sense of community, and I can only one day hope to raise my own family in such an area. After graduating high school from Mount Mansfield, also in Jericho, I moved out to Arizona with my brother to pursue an audio engineering degree, and after completing that program, I started touring with rock and roll bands as a stage manager. I'm very fortunate I chose that route. I was able to travel to all 48 states a minimum of 15 times and visited 9 countries all through my mid-20s for a total of about 7 years. It was
A
very
lot of travel.
lovely, but it's not all glitz and glamour. Being a stage manager, being a roadie or a band crew member, it's a lot of physical labor, a lot of travel. So over time, my priorities changed, and I wanted to settle down and start my own family. More recently engaged to my wonderful fiancée, Stephanie. Great
Congratulations.
Partner. Thank you. And with that, I applied through a temp agency and started my career now of about 2.5 years at Rhino Foods.
Awesome. Thank you. And Onia, how about you? Where are you from?
I grew up, I was born and raised on the south side of Chicago. I'm a mother of 3 kids. I have a background, I worked in the healthcare industry, so I worked in nursing homes and rehabilitation centers. Always had a passion to be of service to others. After 5 years, I wanted to change something new. So I started, trying different temp agencies, and it was like, okay, this nice, next. And I went to about 3 or 4 different temps until I ended up at a temp that actually placed me at the People Against Dirty, which when I landed there, I was like, I don't know what's going on here, but I want to be a part of that. And, it became home for me, so now I'm home.
So had you heard of B Corporation before you started there?
No, I did not have B Corp before I started there. Once I got there, I got pretty involved. We have these different pods at my job. So I'm involved with the PAD pod, which is the People Against Dirty, which focus on bringing our company values to life. So I get to study a lot on our company's blueprint, the B Corp. Our company values also are superpowers, which we live by. So it's even put in training. I get to spend time with the new hires, which we just hired about a good 23 new hires in the last 3 months. So I get to buddy up with them and teach them about our company values. It's not something that's just on a piece of paper, we actually bring them to life. Just to name a few, like one of our company values, care like a mother, keep it weird, what would MacGyver do, every brain in the game. We also...
Tell me about how you bring them to life.
Okay, like I can, for example, I can say like care like a mother. Like everybody's very caring there at our job. Everybody is more like a family. So we'll have overtime, or sometimes we'll have just the work, and someone will come in and cook lunch, buy lunch, and cook barbecue for the whole shift, including all 3 shifts. We do a lot of nice fun things, like we just recently had like a basketball 3-on-3 tournament. We do a lot of fun stuff. I got a lot of people that ask me all the time, like, is your job hiring? All you guys do is have fun. But we do a lot of work behind. We always go over and beyond so we can make the time to have fun. So, when you come in work, it's not, let me put my work face on, and, you get to come to work and be yourself. We love, you work with different people from different walks of life, and you get to be yourself and have fun. You learn for each. Each one teach one. I came in with no skills, and they trained me, and now I'm in the process of training other people what I know. So
awesome, thank you. So. So this idea of not putting a face on when you come to work, I think it's also reflected in Rhino Foods, isn't it? In this idea of inside, outside, outside, inside. Can you talk a little bit more about that company value?
Absolutely. It was brought to my attention just how different Rhino Foods was than other companies. At the first company meeting I attended, Ted Castle, the owner of Rhino Foods, is always in attendance, and he had shared the idea of outside in and inside out. Basically saying that when his employees are living happy, stable lives outside of work, they're able to bring their best selves to work. improving focus and the quality of products being put out. And then inside out, nourishing the internal culture of the workplace so that we're also able to bring our best selves home to our families. And it's all reciprocal, and I think that is where I can relate with the interdependence.
It's great that you bring up interdependence, because that's been a big theme over the last few days at the B Corporation conference. And I'm really curious to know what interdependence means to you. Maybe you can start, Justin.
Okay. A big part of why I'm here today is to share my story about the income advance loan program that Rhino had started. Just to give you a little context on that, it's a program where a business facilitates with a local bank so that any employee who's been full-time for at least 3 months and is in good standing can borrow up to $1,000, no questions asked that day, based on HR securing a $50 or minimum of a $50 deduction from the employee's pay each week. And after the loan is repaid, the deduction continues to be deposited into a savings account, so the employee is also able to build up savings, but also incidentally building their credit. So it's a beautiful thing, really. As I'm sure every person in this room knows very well, life happens. You can't always see things coming. So a few years ago, my living situation abruptly changed, and I had to assume full financial responsibility for all of my bills unexpectedly. And it was my first winter in this apartment, and I got a higher heating bill than expected, and I had no idea where I was going to get the extra money, and I was very nervous. I was either going to have to make sacrifices being late on other bills or making sacrifices within my diet. But then I remembered I had the income advance loan available, and I went to HR, and within minutes I filled out a form. I had $1,000 ready for me at the end of my workday. Went to the bank. It was a very easy process, and I was able to pay the bill, and I was able to avoid a situation of having other aspects of my life possibly spinning out of control just by a surprise heating bill. But thankfully, I had that program available, and it reduced stress, and I was able to maintain focus at work, really bring the best version of myself to work every day. And incidentally, paying off the loan, I did build my savings and improved my credit to a point where more recently I was able to find it within my budget to purchase a new vehicle, and I took out another loan and put it towards a down payment on a brand new Subaru.
You sound like an advertisement.
But for the last 2 years, I hadn't needed a car exactly. I live pretty close to work, so some days I would end up walking to work in the rain and snow, and just a person of strong work ethic, I would always show up to work early, but a little more tired than I probably could have been, and I think Sometimes people take a vehicle for granted. And it meant so much to me that I was able to do this that I felt compelled to approach Ted and personally thank him for the means and opportunity to be able to do something like that.
That's a beautiful example of interdependence in action. Onia, what does interdependence mean to you?
I would say like a balanced relationships, like when two or more companies or business come together, interact with each other and depend on each other without compromising their own values or sacrificing themselves. Also, like even here, I feel like People Against Dirty, we're like a crutch for all the new companies coming in behind us, because we chose to build on the south side of Chicago, and now we have Whole Foods building a distribution center behind us. We have new development on the forefront of the streets in front of us. So it's now people coming in, building now. Also, like they have this thing where they give us 3 care days where you get paid to go out in the community and work. And like I told you, I come from serving others in healthcare, and I still get to do that now for my community, as where I didn't have the time or the money, or I got time with my family where they. You can take the time to go be involved with your community because we're going to pay you for that. Also, like my biggest thing is like my family, my kids. So like when I worked in healthcare, we have like one holiday in the wintertime we could take off and one summer holiday, but we have like this summer shutdown and this winter shutdown where it's paid for. So I get to spend the time off with my kids when they come from school, and that's like the most important thing to me. My kids are my world, so they gave me that time back, which I went ahead with another company. We are a LEED Platinum certified plant, which is leadership in energy, environmental design. You could be certified silver, bronze, gold, and platinum, which is the highest, which is our company. We are. I'm involved in a lot of things like the tour pod, the pad pod, the family planning pod. So it just, like work, I love work. It used to have to throw myself out the bed to go to work, but now even on the weekends when I'm about to take my kids out, and I'll get on my jelly bean color shirt and my steel toe boots, and my kids like, Mom, you going to work? And I'm like, no, I'm not going to work. They're like, why you got your clothes on to go to work? Like, oh, sorry. I'm out on the weekend with my uniform on, so it just says how much I love my job. Like, we had like, we just recently had like a family day. My kids, they're at school. They done been to our plant about 3 times. I didn't get to do that tour because it was in the morning. I work evenings. But also, like, they donate soap. We get to send soap to the school. So all the teachers, they love me. I get to send soap there. I go to my neighborhood nail shop, and I see soap there. And I'm like, oh, I probably made that. My grandma go at Whole Foods, and she's like, did you make this product? I'm like, I don't know, but I know it came from my plant. So it's just really pretty cool, work, you used to just want to bring work home, but work is involved in my everyday life, even into them recycling. We have the 75,000 square feet greenhouse on top of it, which we partner with, Gotham Green. We have the 3 solar trees, natural lighting. We have skylights in our warehouse, and it's just so colorful and pretty. And then you see our factory, you have the wind turbines, so it's just a nice place to work with. I don't want to take up my time.
So Onia, you started as a temp about 2.5 years ago, and you've worked your way up, and now instead of receiving the training, you're training people.
Yeah, I'm actually the second shift production operations lead. I'm still a student as well. I believe sometimes the student can teach the teacher, so everything that I learn, I'm teaching other people, especially we just hired so many people, so now I get to really put my skills to the test. So also, I just think, being a good leader is just lead by example, no matter what background, how much experience or how little experience you got, I'm always open to learning and trying new things. Like our company value every brain in the game, so sometimes I even learn from the temps, I learn from the person that's just cleaning the floor, so it's always open to learning, so yeah. I just got promoted like in August. Started there with no skills, and they trained me to everything, to operating the forklift, the pouch line, line 1, and we just actually brought in another high-speed line, which is line 2. So that's the new thing I'm looking forward to learning as well. So in the process of teaching, I'm also be learning. So I'm a student as well as the new hires.
Awesome.
That's pretty much it.
I love that.
Thank you.
So I think both of you are really inspiring. It's amazing to hear about how policies can have a real impact in your lives, and I want to know about who inspires you. So Justin, I'm looking at you. Can you tell me?
I honestly have to say the most inspirational person in my life is my fiance. She is a solid person every day. She's my best friend. She's my best advisor. She always offers the perspectives I might not have considered. She reminds me to be kind and understanding everybody's different. Reminds me to love better and always try and present the best version of myself, and I honestly have to say I am the best version of myself when I'm with her.
What about you?
I'll say my kids, they're like my biggest motivation. My kids are my world. My grandma, who took a big part in raising me with my father, she's like my superhero. I'm inspired to be more like her. I'm just knowing that someone's counting on me and watching and looking up to me gives me that extra push. Also, even to my coworkers, things that I'm doing now, I never thought that I'll be able to do, and they just the biggest support system to pushing me. I was just I just want to get hired, and now I'm here, and they pushing me to move up and learn more things, and it's just great to have someone believe in you and trust you so much, and now I'm here. So.
So I have one last question for both of you. What's next? What's on the cards coming?
I don't know. I might be my boss's boss.
It's very interesting and coincidental that both our companies are amidst an expansion, essentially doubling capacity, and it's a very exciting time. I've got my seatbelt buckled, and I'm very curious, but I'm definitely on board.
Well, thank you both so much.
Thank you.
I would just like to personally say thank you, and on behalf of all of your employees, thank you for being involved in such a thing and creating such a positive impact on your employees and your local communities. Please give yourselves a round of applause.
There's time.